Magic in the Morning with Daughtry and Mike Barrett joining us from Barrett Insurance Agency with the good policies. How you doing, buddy?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm going to start things off a little different, okay?
Go ahead. It's your show.
It's your show.
Oh, okay.
It's my shift.
Oh, all right.
So Saturday we were hanging out down at Dunkin' Donuts, and the weather played out pretty good for everything that went on for Victorian Holiday. But
Really did.
Want to thank you for stopping by and making a donation to the food shelf on behalf of you and your son Ethan, who I've finally met. What a great little fella!
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Cool
Even-
6-year-old.
He even said a word on the radio.
Said a couple. Yeah, I was impressed.
It was great.
And he wasn't mad at me for making him do it. So,
No.
no, you know, I heard you guys. Ethan and I always do like the garbage run and the errands on Saturday mornings. And many times it brings us to Dunkin' Donuts in St. Jay, and we'll just sit there and people watch, and he'll have a donut and I'll have a coffee. And we hadn't done it in a while. And knowing that you guys were down there, I figured, you know what, I'm going to go and see what's going on. And we were happy to come down and give $100 to such a great cause. I'm glad you guys were down there.
Well, we ended up with 27,825 pounds of food, so we had a
Wow.
very successful food
Good
drive.
for you guys.
It's a holiday season. We always talk good policies, and we talk about ways that people, can save money on their insurances no matter what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys do a lot in the community.
Yes.
You do an awful lot for the community.
We're fortunate enough to be in the community that we love to serve, and we love to serve for their insurance needs, but we love to give back as much as we possibly can. We're collecting toys right now for the Santa Fund. So our tree, we have a Christmas tree at the office that's got a ton of toys underneath it. Hopefully in the next day or two, we'll have the St. Johnsbury Fire Department come pick up those toys. Along with those toys, we'll have a monetary donation that we will do as well as an office and send them on their way. Always near and dear to me is the Santa Fund. So I remember giving when I was a kid.
1,700 kids each and every year benefit from the Santa Fund. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Oh, we love doing it.
Okay, so we're headed into that time of year when not so good things can happen.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about, they say with your smoke detectors and such like that, when you change your clocks, change your batteries and stuff like that. Let's talk safety for a little bit.
Absolutely. So we're in the midst of the weather really dictates what can and cannot happen. Okay. So let's start with the cold. All right. So it's cold out. So make sure you're having your boilers and your furnaces serviced every year. Certainly the oil ones, because oil is dirty. So you want to make sure you're changing the filters, doing any necessary steps. Why do you want to do that? Because you don't want to increase the probability of that failing, because it's never going to fail on a 70-degree day. It's only going to fail on a 30 below zero morning.
No brainer.
Okay. So then your house could potentially freeze up if enough time goes by. So how do you mitigate that chance of loss? Do some preventative maintenance on the units, keeping your home warm. Wood stove, wood heat, pellet heat. Make sure you're following protocol and following manufacturer specifications, not only within the setup and use of these units, but also in the maintenance. Make sure that you're cleaning them out regularly. Make sure, it's amazing to say this, but make sure you're using not paper bags to put the ashes in. And I don't mean that facetiously, but so many people just say, well, here you go. They're cool. And you never know. You never know. On a summer day, have a campfire, and then go the next day if you had a nice hot campfire and see how those ashes are. They're still hot as heck.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So you need to do the approved metal can. Keep it out of the house. Have the chimney cleaned. Have the chimney inspected prior to the heating season. Make sure you don't have any cracks that could lead to a chimney fire that then becomes a structure fire because of the crack in your chimney. You now have something coming into the house. So those are some big things to think about for safety. Also, the roof. You want to make sure luckily we haven't gotten to that point yet this season, but you want to think about snow load. That's a lot of snow that's going to be on those roofs as we go through the wintertime. Maybe getting up there and cleaning it off in short increments will be better than getting up there when there's 3 feet of snow on your roof and you're trying to huff and puff and get it all off.
A couple of years back, we were talking about the snow because we had like 2 weekends where we got 18 and 20 inches of snow, so it was up there.
Yeah.
There's some listeners that listen every morning through their morning routines. They had a farm. They had a barn on their property, and they had been talking back and forth about going and getting the snow off the roof. They'd put it off.
Yep.
Put it off a couple of days. Then they said, you know what, we thought about it, so we went out, and they had like 3 feet of snow on the roof.
Yeah,
and they said they could hear the
Oh yeah,
the roof was creaking. So they
trusses,
started shoveling it off, but they had heard us talking about it. So.
Yeah, it's important to think about. I tend to get it when it's not a huge amount of snow. I'll do it when there's maybe 1.5 feet on there, just because I know that that's going to be an easier thing to get off the roof. Because why not? I love to have a clear roof so that the next snow comes, I don't have a ton of snow up there.
Right. And, we talked about the heating appliances, whether we heat with oil, wood, pellet, what have you. You talked about chimneys, carbon monoxide detectors,
Oh yeah,
the silent killer.
it is. It is. And something people don't think about is these units, CO2 detectors and smoke detectors have a lifespan. And they also have a sensitivity to dust. So if you'll see that they come with that, almost like that shower cap when they come out of the box. Keep that on there if it's a new build and you're going to have dust and things coming around the house, because that can really mess up the impact and how well that's going to work. But also on the back of all these units, there's a date. And it's good to always see what the lifespan of these units are. So that date's going to tell you the date of manufacturer. And depending on the unit, you're looking at 5 to 10 year lifespan, sometimes less. So it's good to check that, okay? So on top of the batteries, check to see how old these things are to make sure you're being safe. As well as another thing, we're talking about life safety for you. Let's talk about life safety for people that come to your property. Make sure you're taking care of shoveling your walkways that are used by people who come to your house, including yourself. Make sure you're taking care of your driveway. If it's icy, sand it. Because here's the thing. If somebody comes and slips and falls and cracks their head on your driveway, and I'm talking even if you maybe you live in the village and somebody uses they shouldn't, but they cross through your parking lot, your driveway. If they slip and fall and crack their head on your property, that is your negligence that has caused them to sustain an injury. As horrible as that sounds to us as the people who are the property owners, but the court system's going to say any reasonable person would have addressed that, because it's a slippery lot or a slippery driveway. So they could come back at you and say that your liability on your policy has to cover their bodily injury for sustaining a fall. So think about that as well. That's another key thing.
That's good advice for an individual property owner, but also great advice for landlords. People that have rental properties.
Especially for the landlords who have multiple dwellings, yes.
Let's go to motor vehicles, okay, quickly here. It's the time of year most often you're going to go off the road. This is the year you're more likely to go off the road.
Yeah.
Okay, time of year.
You go off-road by choice in the summer, off-road not by choice in the winter, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to have a safety kit in your vehicle. You want to have some blankets. You want to have some water. Obviously, you're not going to leave it out there on a sub-zero night. But,
right.
Water, torches, whether they're battery torches or whether they're, the old, like, fireworks type deals there.
Exactly. And there are safety kits available. You can go onto any website and probably find them. You could probably go to any hardware store and find them around here as well. They're reasonable. They have just some basic necessities, and there are people, fortunately, who quote unquote use their cars as closets. So it's a good thing for those people because they already have all the stuff to keep them warm.
They do.
But you want to have that in your vehicle, because you think about at least once or twice a year you hear of a story where people were stuck in their cars for hours on some interstate somewhere. Luckily, it has not happened here for a long time, but it could. So, yeah, it's a good idea to have some stuff in there and be safe.
You don't want to find out the last minute.
No.
Goes along with your theme. You don't want
Yeah.
to find out in the event of a loss that your insurance coverage isn't good enough.
Is not up to snuff. Absolutely.
Tell them how to get with you.
Give us a call, 748-5224. Visit us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, and YouTube is all Barrett Insurance Agency.
Thank you, Mike. We'll see you just before the holidays
You
next
got it,
week.
sir. Have a great week.
All right. We're headed to our news report at 9 o'clock. Got some music for you now from Hunter Hayes.